What really guides our actions when no one is looking? Gyges was a shepherd who worked for the king of Lydia. One day, after a storm, he discovered a crack in the ground, and upon exploring it, he found a ring. This ring, when turned on Gyges' finger, made him invisible. With this power, Gyges was able to do things he otherwise wouldn't have, including seducing the queen, murdering the king, and taking the throne for himself. I have a question for you. If you had a ring that made you invisible, what would you do? Would you use this power for good or for evil? And what if a child found this ring? Do you think they would use it to do something wicked? Are we born with a tendency to do evil? Or is this a capacity we develop over time and through the influences around us? With the help of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Niccolò Machiavelli, and John Locke, today I will try to find out. Man is good by nature. It is society that corrupts him. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. This striking statement from Jean-Jacques Rousseau reflects his core belief in the innate goodness of human beings, a notion he championed during the Enlightenment, a period that challenged old power structures and knowledge. Rousseau argued that, in the state of nature, men were solitary but peaceful and happy. He believed our natural instincts do not incline us toward evil, but that it is social organization and the inequalities it produces that generate conflict and corruption. According to him, entering society forces us to compare ourselves with others, awakening feelings like envy, shame, and pride, leading us to act in ways that might be considered corrupt. In other words, humans are born good, but the frustrations of bank queues, endless bureaucracies, and unsolicited spoilers turn them bad. Delving deeper, Rousseau explains that private property was a critical point in the transformation from natural man to social man. Owning goods led to the creation of laws and governments to protect these properties, which in turn introduced formalized inequality and a greater potential for conflict and malicious thinking. Through Rousseau's lens, we can reflect on daily social interactions and how they shape our behavior. For instance, when we engage in community activities that focus on the common good, we often see the best of ourselves emerge. This could be interpreted as a glimpse of our original nature, suggesting that in less competitive and more collaborative environments, human goodness can prevail. But then, you see a child in the playground clutching a toy car as if it were a treasure, shouting, "Mine!" when another child approaches. The other child then kicks him and runs away with the car. This makes you think, did Rousseau take it too easy on us? Such acts suggest that we may have a hint of selfishness and wickedness from an early age, not only learned but instinctive. And this is where Niccolò Machiavelli comes into play. Imagine a world where it's not society that corrupts us, but where we arrive ready for mischief, just waiting for the opportunity to show our true schemes. Welcome to the thoughts of Niccolò Machiavelli, a man who would probably have loved to watch a good reality show. Machiavelli is often remembered as the author of The Prince, a handbook that seems to endorse cunning and opportunism as legitimate tools for power. The ends justify the means could very well be the slogan for his entire philosophy. He observed politics and human relations with a cynicism that would make anyone rethink their notions of innate goodness. For Machiavelli, our actions are not corrupted by society. Rather, society is just the stage where our true nature reveals itself. He would suggest that if Rousseau thinks we are corrupted angels, perhaps we never had wings to begin with. Consider, for example, how we act when we think no one is watching. Machiavelli would say that our choices in these moments are the true measure of our character. It's easy to be a saint on stage, but what about behind the scenes? And in those small daily decisions? Consider the situation where someone finds a wallet full of money on the street. Machiavelli might argue that a person's decision to keep the wallet or try to return it to its owner reveals a lot about their true nature. It's a perfect situation to observe an individual's natural inclinations, act in self-interest and keep the money, or make an effort to find the owner, reflecting a concern for others' welfare. But here comes the interesting part. While Rousseau might see this situation as a failure of society to educate us about justice, Machiavelli might argue that the temptation to keep the money is a classic example of our pragmatic nature, not necessarily evil, but definitely self-interested and selfish. And this leads us to a crucial point. If Machiavelli is right, then perhaps we need to rethink not just how we see ourselves, but how we structure our societies. It wouldn't be a matter of curing a corruption imposed by society, but recognizing and managing a survival instinct that has been with us from the beginning. Machiavelli challenges us to accept that we might be, by nature, creatures of self-preservation and cunning calculation. But what if there were another layer to this discussion about our nature? What if, instead of being born predisposed to malice or goodness, we really started as a blank slate, ready to be painted by the colors of our experiences? Here comes John Locke, offering a third way in the debate about who we really are. Locke introduces the revolutionary idea that we are born as a blank slate, or tabula rasa, without pre-existing mental content. According to him, all our ideas and traits are the result of the experiences we undergo. Thus, in contrast with Machiavelli, who sees cunning and self-preservation as inherent traits, and Rousseau, who imagines an original goodness corrupted by society, Locke proposes that we are entirely shaped by our environment. Locke argued that our knowledge comes exclusively from experience. This includes everything perceived through the senses, which he called sensible experience, and what we reflect on internally, which he named reflection. Thus, whether we are good or evil, just or unjust, is a consequence of the external influences we have received since birth. This concept opens a range of implications for education and governance. If we accept that we are products of our environment, then the key to creating just individuals and equitable societies lies in setting up that environment. This leads us to question, how can we structure our societies and our educational systems to promote the best human qualities? Unlike Machiavelli, who might see governance as the art of manipulating individuals' innate tendencies to maintain power and order, Locke sees governance as the responsibility of creating an environment that allows individuals to thrive. And unlike Rousseau, who mourned the loss of innate goodness due to society, Locke sees society as a blank canvas on which we can consciously paint a picture of justice and virtue. As we explore the ideas of Rousseau, Machiavelli, and Locke, each offers us a unique lens to observe human nature. Rousseau painted us a picture of an innate goodness lost to the corrupting influence of society. Machiavelli, on the other hand, challenged this notion with the view that we are cunning and self-interested beings by nature, adeptly navigating the power game. And Locke introduced us to the concept that we are a blank slate, shaped entirely by the experiences we live through. Each of these theories carries deep implications for how we build our societies, educate our children, and govern our nations. They force us to question not just who we are, but also how we can influence and be influenced by the world around us. And who is right? This is my take. They might all be right, each one capturing a part of the truth about who we are. I believe we are born with innate traits that may predispose us to goodness or wickedness. It's something biological. However, these biological aspects are just the beginning of the story. Society, through education and other forms of influence, has the power to amplify or moderate these initial inclinations. A powerful example of this is the Roots of Empathy project in Canada, which has been replicated in various parts of the world. In this program, school-aged children regularly interact with a baby and its caregiver throughout the school year. The goal is to develop empathy and reduce aggression among students. Studies have shown that, throughout the program, children who initially demonstrated aggressive behaviors began to show increased empathy and significant reductions in disruptive and violent behaviors. This shows that, even though some individuals may have more aggressive tendencies due to their innate nature or previous experiences, targeted educational intervention can cultivate more positive traits, such as empathy. This perspective reminds us of the critical importance of education and the social environment. Not only do we cultivate what already exists within us, but we also have the opportunity to transform potentials into realities. If we can be born with certain predispositions, it is society that provides the stage and the scripts that help define how these predispositions will be expressed. So, did you like the video? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tell me, what's your opinion on the topic? If you've made it this far, it means that this journey through the world of philosophy has awakened something in you. Turn that spark into a flame. Explore Essence of Wisdom, the definitive guide that simplifies the history of philosophy, making it accessible, engaging, and deeply relevant and applicable to your life. The link is pinned in the comments below. Thank you for staying until the end and follow the White Rabbit.